my second guest on the show tonight, and he is a music legend, famous for one of the members of the Miami show band. It's Des Lee. Good evening, good evening.
Good evening, Robin.
How are you, sir?
Not too bad, thank you. A bit chilly in Belfast tonight.
Do you think so?
Yes, summer's gone.
Because I would like to bring this show out onto the streets every week now, coming up to Christmas.
Brilliant idea.
Yeah, great idea.
Fantastic.
We could take it in front of the big Christmas tree at the City Hall. We could take it up and down the side streets and do
Great
anything we
idea.
wanted.
Just make sure you've got all your woolies on.
You've been a busy boy recently. Yesterday was a big day for you down in Dublin, wasn't it?
Yeah, we were in Dublin yesterday. The GPO in Dublin launched a new series of stamps, which was to commemorate the show band era in Ireland. And there was 4 bands selected. There was Joe Dolan, the Drifters, the Miami Show Band, the Freshmen, and the other one was the Royal Show Band.
Yeah.
And basically what the idea was, they launched a stamp which went on sale yesterday in Ireland, which will go all over the world. And I must be honest, I was deeply honoured. I just cannot believe it.
It's the biggest honour you can get in your home country,
It is,
really,
yes,
isn't it?
Yeah. And you know, the funny thing about it is, this is a true story. When I left school, not yesterday, a few years ago, anyway, when I left school, I applied for a job in Belfast as a postman,
Yeah?
and I didn't get the job.
Right.
But I'm on a stamp.
Wow.
So I'm very happy.
What an achievement. Now, yesterday as well, it been a great day, a day you'd
Yeah.
be very proud of. It still must have been a day filled with mixed emotions, because you must have thought about the guys who sadly couldn't be there, the likes of the great Fran O'Toole.
Well, you know, it's like I said yesterday in Dublin, you know, it was a day of sadness as well as a day of joy. The sadness, of course, was the fact that Fran O'Toole, Brian McCoy, Tony Geraghty, Clem Quinn, and my late wife Brenda were not able to be there to share with us in such a momentous occasion.
Yeah.
But I did feel that they were looking down at us from heaven high
Oh, wow.
and enjoying every bit as much as we did.
Now, the Miami are still around today, still playing. Is it still as much fun today as it was way back then, the 60s and early 70s?
It is every bit as much fun. I mean, I lived in South Africa for quite a few years. And about 2 years ago, I got a phone call to would I like to come back and do the unveiling of the monument in Dublin for the guys. And I came over, and I was due to go back and to South Africa. I was touring all over Africa,
Yeah.
all the countries over there, and came back. And I must be honest, I've enjoyed it so much I've stayed.
Wow.
The only thing I do miss is the weather.
Yeah. Now, what about the classic show band days of the 60s and 70s?
Yeah.
Because when the Miami first started off, and you
Yeah.
look back at the history of the Irish boy bands, the likes of Westlife, Boyzone, right down, in a way, you guys were filling stadiums back then, so you were like the first Irish boy band in a way, weren't you?
Well, there's a lot of strange stories to that one. Louis Walsh, who, as you all know, managed Westlife and Boyzone,
Yeah.
also managed me.
Right.
So I was a wee bit before my time, obviously.
What was Louis like as a manager?
Louis was fantastic.
Yeah.
He was an absolute gentleman to get on with. He was a very hard worker, and I firmly believe he deserves everything that he's got today.
Do you watch him on The X Factor?
I watch him on the X Factor. I prefer him to Simon, I have to say. The other thing, of course, is that you know, Louis was, as I say, a great influence in our days. And one of the things I noticed about Louis is that he's taken a lot of things from the show band era and brought them into his boy bands.
Yeah.
If you look at the early Miami photographs, we used to always wear white suits. And if you look at some of the shots of Westlife and things like that, they're in white suits now today. So I think he's taken some of the show band things from years gone by.
Talking about white suits, we have to mention another show band legend who's sadly no longer with us, Joe Dolan. You obviously got to know Joe quite well over the years.
I knew Joe. I actually met Joe in South Africa when he was on tour there as well. And Joe Dolan to me has always been the absolute gentleman. And for me, I would say, I know Dickie Rock, who was my lead singer in my band, may not approve of this, but I've always thought that Joe Dolan was the best singer that we had in the show band era.
Right. When you said that, was there kind of hint of rivalry between Dickie and any other members of show bands?
Well, I think they all, you know, every show band tried to do out each other.
Yeah.
You had the Royal, who, you know, They had their Brendan Boyer, of course. Then you had Dickie Rock, you had Joe Dolan, and all that. So there was always rivalry.
And of course, Brendan Boyer went off to Vegas and
That's
became
correct, yeah.
huge in Vegas. Did
Yeah.
you never get the urge to go and do the Vegas thing?
Well, the Miami went to Vegas. We actually did a tour of the United States, and that was a fantastic time. I actually thought of staying in the States at one stage, but I'm glad now I didn't. No, we toured all over America: Boston, New York, Chicago, LA, Los Angeles, and we also did Las Vegas.
Wow.
Yeah, but we didn't go as well in Las Vegas, unfortunately, as what Brendan Boyer did. But
Okay.
it was an experience.
So you've done the whole South Africa thing. You're
Yeah.
back here now. Where's home these days?
Well, I live between here now and Portlaoise.
Yeah.
You know, so it's Belfast and Portlaoise, and I'm up here every weekend, basically. You know, we're up here at the moment because we've got quite a lot of exciting things that are happening all over the Christmas period.
There's big things happening in Christmas
Yeah.
at a great new venue called the Emerald Roadhouse.
Yeah.
And yourself and Barry Woods from
Yeah.
Miami and Club Sound have come together. And it's going to be a great Christmas, isn't it?
Yeah, we're putting together this huge Christmas show, which involves quite a lot of themes. Like we're doing a Grease thing in it, we're doing Glee, we're doing a show band tribute, and it's going to be a big party festival, you know, and the sort of things like, because it's a Christmas thing, we're going to finish off the night with stuff like Fairy Tale of New York,
Yeah.
balloons coming out of the ceiling, everybody singing, Joe Dolan, Goodbye Venice, and all that sort of thing. So it's going to be a big party.
And of course, a special guest, a mystery special guest on every show every
Yeah.
night as well. So you never know who might turn up to
That's
it.
correct, yeah. It's
So it's,
wonderful.
the Emerald Roadhouse, 27th of November, I believe, is the opening night
That's
for the
correct,
show.
yeah.
And I believe as well, there's a book in the pipeline too.
Yeah, I'm writing a book actually. You know, you probably are aware that Stephen Travers from Miami wrote his book, but my book will be totally different than Stephen's. Stephen's already gone through the tragedy.
Yeah.
Obviously will have to involve the tragedy as well, but I'll be going more into my life in Belfast, my tragedies in my life. And of course, the title for my book, I'm a saxophonist, as you know, and keyboard player and singer. And the title of my book is My Saxophone Saved My Life.
And of course, everybody out there is going, why my saxophone saved my life?
Well, actually, on the night of the tragedy, I went back to the van, took my saxophone out of the van, put it on the road, and I stayed where I was, next to the van. If I had gone back to where I was in the queue,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be here today. And that's why I've called the book My Saxophone Saved My Life.
So the memories of that tragic night in 1975, are they still really clear, really strong today?
Oh, yeah. You know, as I just told you, I go between Portlaoise and Belfast every weekend, and I go past the scene of the tragedy. So it's on my mind every single day I come up, and every day I go back down.
All right. Des, will you stick around and join
I
the
will
fun a
do.
bit later on? Should we have some more live music?
Yes,
What did you think of young Cara?
Fantastic. Beautiful voice.